Alright. Well, let's get on with it then. We've got a journey ahead of us. Hello everybody, I'm Kotor the Barbarian, and welcome back to the Gaben Gauntlet, number 55, Virtue's Last Reward. Tonight we hopefully could finish this game and continue our seemingly never-ending journey to beat all my Steam games, of which the current total sits at 362. At the end of every game, and hopefully tonight, we have a raffle and you guys get to pick the order in which we play these games. So let's go ahead and hopefully finish Virtue's Last Reward. Guys, that didn't happen on Friday because you probably missed the end. Hope you enjoyed though. Thank you so much, Real. Yeah, sorry I couldn't stream on Friday. It just didn't work out that way. Oh well. Timer go. Dad life is sacrifice. Yes, it is. It is all sacrifice, but at least you hope through all that sacrifice you get something cool out of it in the end. And don't you be wiggling. I see you on that video feed. Ah, he's fine.
I think we need to put in an ID and a password.
Yeah, but what?
That was when I noticed the illustration. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the... Remember death. If the ninth lion ate the sun. Oh, of course. This was the real ninth lion. But if that was the case... Indeed. I think he'll be a pretty cool kid when he gets older. He's a pretty cool kid now, to be honest. He's certainly got a personality already. Well, I'm pretty sure... Well, it fits at least. Hey.
Sigma, look!
Oh. It's our dead lady.
Akane. Her name is Akane Kurashiki. I've been looking for her for a very long time.
But why, Tenmyoji, why? He walked toward her, slowly, carefully, almost as if he was afraid of scaring her away. He reached out.
She's a hologram.
Why you gotta reach right for the boobs? Tenmyoji, naughty man. Tenmyoji squeezed his eyes shut. Closed his hand around empty air and let it fall to his side. There was a moment of sad silence, and then she began to speak.
I see you finally arrived. I've been waiting for you. Well, I suppose that's slightly inaccurate. What you see now is a holographic message I recorded before you came here. Unfortunately, this means I will not be able to answer your questions, at least not directly. I hope you will understand.
No, not at all, actually.
Now, where to begin? You probably have a great many questions. What day is it? Where are we? Who is Zero? And what does he have to do with Akane Kurashiki? But I imagine there is one question that rises above all the others.
Why am I here?
Why were we brought here?
Yeah.
The answer to that is simple. Everything that has happened here is part of our plan.
Our plan to... Our plan to...
All of this was required for the success of the AB project.
Which
I
is...
assume you heard the name by now, at least. In any event, you were all needed in order to execute our plan. The nonary game was necessary for the same reason. Your question now, I imagine, is just what is this AB project? The answer to that is also simple. Allow me to explain.
We'll see if I'm right. Was I right in my prediction that the AB plan and the notary game is all for the purpose of stopping the epidemic of Radical 6?
We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
What do you mean the past? The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized no one there could answer the question. Not Phi, not Temi-OG, it's certainly not a pre-recorded
Have you
hologram.
figured out what this room is? I assume you saw the Q on the door. It stands for quantum. That makes this the quantum room.
It took a moment to realize she'd changed subjects without even pausing. There was nothing we could do, of course, but I still felt a twinge of frustration.
Take a look at the rear of the room. Do you see that large enclosure? That houses our quantum computer. The systems that control this entire facility run on that machine. That includes the construct you refer to as Zero Jr., as well as the golems. All of them do their thinking in that box. Isn't that strange, though? It seems contrary to how we perceive the world, the body, the thing that you see and interact with.
Get on with it, Akane. I know you're dead and all, you probably got a lot to tell us, but get on with it.
But the mind and all its thoughts are in this box. Perhaps it isn't so strange, though. Perhaps humans are the same, with our minds and thoughts existing separate from our bodies. Our core is in our head, of course. We all have individual brains, think individual thoughts, and act according to individual wills.
Like, I know the game's trying to get all, like, psychological and intellectual on me, but it goes a little far. Just a little bit. Tends to kind of drone on a tad. Not horribly, though, just a tad.
So, we're forced to rely on inefficient mediums, like language, photographs, non-verbal cues, etc., to transmit information. Each one of us is an individual, and we have no direct connection to anyone else. But, is that really true? In the dimensions we are most familiar with, yes, it is. If we look at things from another higher dimension, however, we may all be connected after all, like the branches of a tree or a rhizome. Imagine a horizontal cross-section of the root system of a large tree.
I think we did that puzzle already.
All you can see are the spots where the roots intersect the plane of your cross-section. In the two dimensions you see, the roots all appear to be individual things with no connection to one another. But this isn't the case. If you expand your view and look at the root system in 3 dimensions instead of only 2, you see the truth. All the roots join together at the trunk. In 2 dimensions, they appear to be separate. But if you see,
Yes, I get it.
things that might appear to be separate from one another in 3 dimensions could be connected to one another if you look at them in 4 dimensions. Doesn't that at least seem like it could be a possibility?
Sure.
I believe that is how human consciousness actually works. Well, I'm not the only one, I suppose. Zero and I share that belief.
Morphogenetic field theory.
Temi-OG mumbled something that sounded like nonsense. I opened my mouth to ask him what it meant, but Akane was already talking again.
Now, when I talk about a 4th dimension, I'm referring to the fourth dimension used in Minkowski space-time. Let's start with a single dimension, where all that exists is a point. Connect points to one another, and you have a line. In one dimension, the only surface you can create is that, a line. But move to 2 dimensions and create more lines, and you can create shapes.
I heard you like physics.
These are 2-dimensional circles. Move up to 3. Now you have connect 3-dimensional objects to one another, and you formed a 4-dimensional object, which encompasses a volume of both space and time. It is on that 4th dimensional axis that our minds are connected. If that was true, then what would prevent anyone from sending their consciousness backward or forward in time? That theory is the foundation of the AB project. The A represents after, and the B represents before.
I'm sorry, we done?
It probably sounds silly to you. A ridiculous story.
It sounds very
by a
long. It
mad
sounds
old
incredibly
woman.
long.
But look at what's happened to you. You've seen many different worlds and timelines, haven't you, Sigma? And what about you, Phi? I know you have too. Am I wrong? Tenmyoji should know what I'm talking about as well. I believe you experienced something very similar nearly half a century ago. You sent your consciousness to the past to help save a little girl's life.
Tenmyoji is Junpei.
It was a long time
Did I
ago,
predict that
but
before? I can't remember if I did. I can't remember.
perhaps you still remember.
Yeah, of course I do. How can I forget? That little girl was you, Akane.
Suddenly felt like Phi and I were outsiders, trespassing on something we had no... Wait. No. 50 years ago. Nah, I didn't predict that. Maybe I thought it, but I just never said it on the stream. At some point, the thought did occur to me that he might have been Junpei, but I must have quickly dismissed it.
Now, unfortunately, my time is up. The final stage of the project will begin very soon. I need to go prepare. The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and I'll be waiting. One last thing.
You're gonna tell me what the
cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead? Sigma? Phi? You will decide its fate.
cat in the box being humanity?
Goodbye.
Wait! Akane, wait!
Oh, Tenmyoji.
I thought she couldn't reply.
I can almost see you. You don't need to worry. Everything is going to be okay.
What did I do?
I will see you again one day. I promise. But I'm going to have to ask you to wait just a little longer.
Wait! Akane!
And then she was gone. Tenmyoji collapsed to his knees, his back hunched and shaking. I saw tears land on the white-knuckled fist he pressed against his thighs. I kept quiet. What was there to say? Phi and I looked at one another and nodded silently. With a shaking hand, Tenmyoji pulled a photograph out of his pocket. It was a picture of a girl. After all that we'd been through, her smile was enough to break your heart. We made our way to the warehouse on floor A and met up with the others. It took only a few minutes to decide to head to the infirmary. As soon as we arrived, we began to treat Alice and Quark for Radical 6. I gave Luna the accelerator that I found in the queue room. She quickly prepared it and... Oops. Aren't we gonna make... I guess we don't have access to the lab in this one? Oh well. Ejected Allison Quark.
Thank goodness. It will take some time for them to recover completely, but they should be fine.
Good.
Indeed.
Thank you, Luna. And thanks for finding the medicine, you guys. Thank you so much.
Don't
No need
sweat
to
it.
thank us.
Temioji said nothing, just walked over to Quark's unconscious body. Took the small boy's hand in his own and held it tight. I could see tears at the corner of his eyes as he turned away from us. Suddenly I remembered. Dio, where did he gone? Didn't take me long to find him. Nice. He was sprawled unconscious on the floor beneath the sink.
Oh, we found those in the crew quarters. Before you returned, we went to check on the bomb in room 2, and we found them there. Of course, the bomb was indeed turned off. Thank you again for dealing with them. You are, quite literally, lifesavers.
Yeah.
You have my eternal gratitude.
I coughed awkwardly and looked pointedly around the room. I glanced over at Phi to see that she was doing the same thing. Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. So now what? After that we head back to Floria Warehouse to play the AB game. Specifically me, Phi, Kay, and Luna. Clover Temioji decided to remain in the infirmary just in case something happened to Alice, Quark, or Dio. Luna would represent Clover's team, with Quark and Dio sleeping. Kay would represent their team by default, which left me, Phi, and Temioji.
No, I'll let you handle it. I chose Betray in the last round. You probably don't trust me right now.
What? That doesn't matter
Excuse
now.
me, I apologize for interrupting, but I think you should be the one to vote in the next round, Phi.
Why?
You already have 9 BP.
Yo, Backlight. Backlight, thank you so much for 17-month resub. Thank you so much, Backlight. You, and only you, are now the mightiest of barbarians. Thank you so much, Backlight, for your continued support, and welcome to the finale. Yo, Psycho Sheep, it's me time. Me time?
There's no reason for you to choose Betray now. You see?
Hey, I'm actually trying to betray
Not
her.
necessarily.
What does it matter what he's suggesting? We're almost there. We just have to play the AB game 3 more times. Then we can all get 9 points.
Psycho Sheep, get wrecked, Backlight. This is for winning GG too much. Thank you so much, Psycho Sheep. 11 months in a row. Thank you so much, you. And only you are now the mightiest barbarian. Thank you so much for your support. And for being the mightiest. Sorry, Backlight. You've been dethroned.
But that means each representative has to choose ally all 3 times.
Okay, I'll vote. You sure you're alright with this, Sigma?
Yeah, I trust you. Handed her the star key.
Shall we open the doors?
Bing, bing.
And M40.
Oh, right. We have to wait for the deadline.
Oh, well, we could vote earlier, but then each voter would be stuck inside the AB room for 45 minutes.
So, Mr. Starstream, you didn't miss too much. Well, I guess you did miss a bit. There was a discussion with the hologram of Akane. So, yeah, we did the big lore drop in the left of the queue room. So, Tenmyoji is Junpei from 999. Tubzilla giving the gift of barbarism to Eagle Falcon. Eagle Falcon, wherever you might be, thank you so much. You are now the mightiest barbarian. Thank you so much, Tubzilla. Get wrecked, both of you. Here's a gift sub. Wasn't sure if that was revealed yet.
Okay, let's go back
They
to
didn't
the
literally
infirmary.
say it, but yeah, it's him.
I agree. Please, lead the way.
Moving the case off toward the yellow door. I was about to follow.
Hold
when-
on. I just remembered something. The AB room on the left, in one of the other histories, she...
Oh yeah, you're right. Akane's body was in there. What does this mean? Why didn't we find her body this time? Oh. I like Junpei's characterization in Game 3, but I didn't say I liked his characterization in Game 2, which you do a lot.
Maybe because she wasn't murdered.
But how? When did history change?
Do you remember what Akane said?
The cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead? Sigma? Fine. You will decide its fate.
His name is Junpei Tenmyoji. He's just been going by his last name this whole time. Strange
Exactly.
cat thing. I wonder what she meant about us deciding its
Perhaps
fate.
she was saying her own fate wasn't decided yet. The history where she's alive and the history where she's murdered are both real right now.
So then where is she? We've already opened the box. We've opened the door to the AB room. There was no
No,
body.
we haven't opened the box. We haven't found a body. But we haven't found her alive yet either. In other words, we haven't actually observed her. The hologram was a recording from before this game started.
No fate.
The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting.
I thought that meant another hologram, but so where's Akane now? Where was she waiting for us? Is she inside Kay's suit of armor? No, probably not. Oh, what if she wasn't anywhere now? What if she was waiting for us in another timeline? Or what if she waited for us in the past? Was that even possible? If she was, what would that mean? Of all people would ring it so she's alive and dead at the same time. That's ridiculous. Wait, wasn't this the girl who was dead in the furnace and now at the same time? Yep. Oh, what? A new death and fuck you! Destination. What? Oh, we're going into the past. Ooh. We need a mom with a timeline flashbacks heavy yakety sax as the music. Ow, 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 ow. Damn it. Feels like my head's gonna explode. Wait. Where the hell am I?
No, this is one of the AB rooms.
Who the hell are you? What the hell's an AB room?
Damn, I guess you did lose your memory after all.
Memory. It's all back to me. I remember. You're fine. She grinned. When is
Check
this?
your bracelet.
It's a red pair. This is New Game Plus. We restarted from the top. God damn it.
Mine's the same.
Does this mean this is the beginning of the game? We've gone back to when we first woke up in the AB room?
No, I think we woke up a little earlier this time. Push
do you
the
know?
buttons on the side of your bracelet.
2 hours, 15 minutes.
We didn't wake up this long before the primary doors opened last time.
No plus, just minus. I bought rice cakes. Fly-o.
I think we're about an hour early. Yeah,
You're right.
Akane might still be alive. We got back before Dio killed her. I think. Right.
Then
We're here for one reason.
I wonder if there'll be like an actual time limit on this puzzle to stop her from getting
Exactly.
killed. Let's move. We need to get out of
Don't
here
need
fast.
to tell me twice. Let's go.
Do I still have the password, I wonder? Seek a way out. This game is literally the opposite of Doki Doki. Oh. I thought it would be interesting if they put like an actual timer on this one. So... I wonder if something moved. Nice. Cracker? Yeah, I make key. How the... Why'd she call it a cracker? I guess a safe cracker? Oh, it yells at you, you've done it before? Good, looks like that worked. Everything, just push the goddamn button! Don't you dare count down! Oh my god. Thank you, Phi. At least Phi has common sense. One and done. Hey, you push the button. Bite me, you're taking too long. We're on a schedule here. Thank you, Phi. It's appreciated. Someone who doesn't have to do a freaking countdown. Found it. Phi and I climbed up through the hatch and out onto the top of the AB room. Took us only a moment to spot them. Oh shit. Behind her was Dio. He was moving quickly, quietly, a knife glinted in his right hand. Shit. Quick, Phi, use your superhuman speed that you somehow have. But there was no time to yell to her. I'm pretty sure there's time to yell. I scrambled down from the top of the AB room. Phi wasn't following me. When I looked back, she was still standing on the roof. Phi, what the hell are you doing? Get down here and... Before I could finish, she moved. She ran across the roof and launched herself into the air. Wrecked. Get wrecked, Dio, you fucking asshole.
He's fine, just unconscious.
How did he double-leg takedown him right in the face? Which I'm totally okay with. We don't need him anyway. With Akane, we've got 9 people, so he doesn't need to be alive at all.
I don't think he saw me. He probably has no idea what happened to him.
Guy went down like a sack of shit. I mean, potatoes.
He had it coming.
Heard footsteps coming from a stop right in front of us. I looked up.
So you came.
Hey,
I've
we
been
saved her.
waiting for you. You're here to hear the rest, right?
Wait, just wait a minute. The hell is your deal? How can you be so calm? If you hadn't showed up just now, you'd...
Have been stabbed in the heart by this young man and died. Yes. Although, that reminds me, I haven't thanked you yet. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate you saving me.
Well, at least she's grateful. And now you know why in any timeline with bombs you didn't find Akane's corpse. Wait, why? That doesn't... What does that have to do with the bombs?
Hold on. How do you know about being stabbed by Dio? Are you an Esper too?
Yes, indeed I am. I am able to jump through time, just like you.
What the hell were you thinking? If you knew he was going to stab you, then why are you going to let him do it?
Because I had to. Think
What?
Why are you here? If I hadn't been killed by Dio, no one else would have been murdered. Consequently, your own abilities would never have manifested. I did explain, didn't I?
got stopped by you in those times. Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
The purpose of the AB project was to send the two of you to the past. Or your minds, at least. In order for that to happen, some death was necessary. When a human brain is faced with danger, its processing speed increases. Information is processed more quickly, and time almost seems to slow. A few seconds can feel
Pistol
like
McAwesome,
eternity.
20 months in a row. Thank you so much, Pistol McAwesome, you! And now only you are the mightiest of barbarians. Thank you so much, Pistol McAwesome, for your continued support and for ever being awesome. Thank you.
Unfortunately, that in itself isn't enough to send oneself through time. The amplitude of the consciousness is simply too small. In order to increase the amplitude, we need to slow down the brain before the increase happens.
Hope you're doing well. I am doing pretty well. I hope you are well too, my friend.
It's a little like a slingshot. You pull back on the rubber band.
My morning meeting
and
got
then
canceled
let
for tomorrow,
go.
so that's always exciting.
The potential energy you stored in the band is released and converted into kinetic energy. That's what fires the bullet out of the slingshot. Now, while a slingshot can only fire in one direction, your
woman
mind
only
isn't
speaking
similarly
metaphors?
limited. When the bullet of your consciousness is fired from the slingshot of your brain, it travels past the three-dimensional world and into the four-dimensional one. From that perspective,
No, she's got
time
these
is no
800
longer
paragraphs of
fixed.
stuff to tell us. Started with a lot of shit lately, but struggling mentally, being able to find peace and watching some of my favorite streamers is a huge help, so thanks for being you and for what you do, my friend. Always a pleasure. We're always here for you, Mr. McAwesome.
In other words, you can travel to the future, the past, whenever you like. Your consciousness has been released from the three-dimensional cage. In order for that to happen, I had to infect you with Radical 6.
We're
What?
infected with Radical 6?
Yes, don't you remember, Sigma? Luna should have told you about it in another timeline.
Are you sure? Infecting all of these people with such a horrible disease?
Every single one of you has been infected. Well, apart from Luna, of course. Unfortunately, it was necessary. We needed to slow your minds in order to store up your potential energy. Then we provided a dire situation that would accelerate your processing
She's the main
speed.
bad person. She's not bad. She's the she's not Zero, but she's basically Zero's partner in the whole nonary game AB project.
The result is what you are now experiencing. Your consciousness now occupies four-dimensional
The whole point of this
space-time.
whole experiment was basically to train me and Phi's brains to use the morphogenetic field to be able to send our consciousness forwards and backwards in time. For the specific reason she has yet to mention, but I assume to
Even
stop
that,
the
however,
plague of Radical 6 and
wasn't
destroy
enough.
humanity.
You had the ability to travel, but your memories could easily be lost during the trip. If the project was to succeed, you had to be able to retain everything you learned in each reality. That was the reason you were forced to jump so many times. With each jump, your ability to remember improved. Eventually, you would be able to retain everything. That is why we made you play the AB game. That was why you had to select different chromatic doors. By forcing specific choices, we could cause you to make more jumps.
I get it. I think I finally understand. Okay. There are a lot of things I don't understand, but all of what you just told me makes sense. You did all of this so that Fi and I could jump through 4-dimensional space with our memories intact,
Yes.
right? But why did you need us to do that? People have died for this. I mean, let's count how many different ways people died. Murder, antimatter explosion, suicide. I've died, so has Fi, so have you. So why would you do all this? What does it matter that Fi and I jumped through
Haven't
time?
I told you? Death was unavoidable. You are all destined to die. Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
I already know that. I'm asking you is why? What is so goddamn important that's worth all this?
I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually.
What? Just when is eventually?
In a future not very far from now.
You just tell me. Bullshit, that's not good enough. Why can't you just tell us now? Instead of answering, Akane knelt down next to Dio and picked up his knife off the floor. Good move.
I'm going to keep this with me.
Don't change the
But
subject.
it's almost time.
What are you talking about? We've got plenty of time. It's Willy
No,
Wonka.
in a few moments, you'll return to the original timeline. This
Wait, what?
is the way it has to be. Don't fight it. Logomorph.
Logomorph?
Yes.
Logomorph?
You call him Zero Jr. His official designation is Logomorph. Logomorph, this is an order. Unlock my bracelet.
Compliance.
And she's gonna put it on Dio.
Now, everything is in place. I have put the bracelet onto Dio. All we have to do is place his body in the 5th AB room, the second one from the right.
That's the one Quark is in, right?
Correct. I will move him. I will also put your bodies back into the 3rd AB room. Once that's done, I will reset its puzzle to an unsolved state.
Why do you need to do
To
all that?
recreate the history that you remember.
Okay, it can't change. If she changes the past, then it changes the future, and then we won't have our power, and she will die. And okay.
Your consciousness is about to leave your body and return to the future. Your body will be emptied, and your other consciousness will jump back in. If your bodies aren't back in the 3rd AB room by then, it would be bad.
So you're saying some version of us is going to wake up in that room and repeat the same history again? Well, I guess this could actually be our 2nd or 3rd time.
You are exactly correct. Lastly, I'm going to leave this with you.
She paused and pulled something out of her pocket. There was a small key attached to a string.
I'll tie it onto your ankle so that you won't lose it. All right, Sigma?
What's it say on there?
Tu fui ego eris.
It's Latin. It means, what you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
Yes,
What am I supposed
it
to
will
do with
help
it?
you meet someone who's very important.
Meet Zero,
Go.
maybe?
Return to the future. You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you. Now hurry.
Wait, I still... Bye-bye. May I continue? Charge phone. Oh, right. Well, you know, it helps when you're trying to charge your phone. It helps if you plug in your charger. Did you know this? All this science talk, and the answer to the question of, did you plug in the thing, is no. I do have it installed. We still got a ways to go from the estimates I was told.
Oh, looks like you're awake.
Why are we here?
Do you know what happened at the AB gate?
Kay and I went back to the infirmary, but...
We waited, and the two of you never returned.
So we went to the warehouse to check on you.
We found you passed out in front of the AB rooms.
Kay and I hurried back here with you.
Looked over Fi and met her eyes. You remember what happened
You
just
mean
now?
what happened a long time ago?
Yeah. You got him pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I remember all right.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
What am I?
Work.
Top liver?
Hey!
Back among the
fan
conscious
service,
and
I
not
mean, Alice.
psychotic, huh?
Yeah, thanks.
Grandpa told me what you did. Thanks for finding the medicine for us.
Yeah. No problem, all in the day's work, although I wouldn't mind a little swimsuit action. Sigma definitely, like, draws his own not safe for work fan art. He's...
Really grabbing at straws here, aren't you?
I wasn't talking to Quark. That was an offer
Not
for
really
Alice.
my point.
She's basically already wearing a swimsuit. Like, that's... Putting on a swimsuit would actually be covering more skin for her.
Whatever. Forget about that. Now that you guys are awake, all we gotta do is open the number 9 door.
What are you talking about?
Look at your bracelet.
Says 10. That's 10 BP.
I've got 15 BP? That means I got 6 more points while I was out.
But how?
You've been asleep for more than 2 hours. We've played the AB game 3 times.
Yes,
3 times.
of course, the color and group assignments were shuffled around each time. But no matter who voted, everyone chose Ally.
Oh. I don't need to see the points. I understand.
And now all of us have enough to leave.
I think we should just leave Dio behind regardless. I was stunned. How had everyone cooperated long enough to raise all our BP to past 9? Was it because Akane hadn't been killed? Without a death to start things off, maybe we've been less suspicious of one another. Or could the bombs have been something to do with it? We all joined forces against Dio and Phi and had been able to disarm all of them. All of us had banded together against a common enemy and overcome a tremendous threat. Perhaps that has strengthened our bond. Maybe rearm a bomb and shove it in his fucking mouth. That sounds like a good plan. I like that plan. Which I had to admit would have been somewhat ironic. After all, Dio had planned the bombs that forced us all to work together against him. This must have been what Akane was talking about.
Haven't I told you death was unavoidable? Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
Come on, let's go! Let's open the door and get out of here!
Wait. What about him? After some discussion, we decided to leave Dio behind. Yeah, fuck that guy. Alice was the only holdout. She complained about wanting to take him back to her superiors, but after I mentioned that we'd come back to investigate after we escaped and deal with Dio then, she reluctantly complied.
Alright. Let's get going.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He'd just be a liability. Taking him with us would just put everyone at harm, so no, fuck him. Everybody ready? I'm gonna open
Yes.
it. Everyone else swallowed and nodded. I grabbed the lever and pulled down. Chunk. getting out. We're getting out. We're actually, yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done. We're gonna leave. It's almost done. We're almost done with this game.
The number 9
Finally bring our
door
superiors back and
has
discover
been
the radical
opened.
system and finish the job. Rip.
It will
Alright, everybody, let's move. Didn't need to tell them twice. The room inside was clearly a loading elevator. It looked sort of like a large plate on top of a huge pedestal. We ran to the center of the plate and turned around. The number 9 door stood wide open.
1 0. The number 9 door.
How about Dio? Have fun starving to death while being handcuffed to the sink. The asshole, it's what he deserves. I feel no sorrow for that dick.
The number 9 door has closed.
I was getting some weird audio issues. It sounded like the audio was like switching ears.
This ends the nonary game. Thank you, as the game is over.
We're almost done. We're almost done. We're gonna finish this line. We're almost done. No more puzzles. No more bullshit. People even more than I do. Oh, there we go. My
Looks like we
my
did
headset
it.
wasn't fully plugged in.
Yes, we should keep moving.
Surprised Luna's coming with us, but I don't mind. Luna's nice. What happens to Luna if we get outside range of her being able to connect to the computer, though? Beyond the door was a wide hallway that ended in a very solid wall. To the left, we found a very familiar-looking door. We pushed it open and went in. Pressure exchange chamber.
You know what this place is?
Yep, sort of. This whole facility is pressurized, apparently. The idea is to keep the air outside and consequently the virus from getting inside. That means if we want to go out, we have to decompress, so we have to match the outside air pressure. This room here is where you prepare for going into the actual pressure exchange room. See all those suits along the wall? I figure we need to put those on and head to the decompression room downstairs.
Whoa! Hold on a minute! You're saying the air outside is full of that horrible virus?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Of course, according to Akane, we were all already infected with Radical 6, so the whole room seemed a little pointless.
Why? How did all this happen?
Did they?
No, that's not possible.
We've come this far. We can't turn back now. Let's go outside.
There's 2 sets of lockers.
There's no way to know what's really going on until we do.
All right.
No one else objected. We all don the protective suits and head downstairs to the decompression room. As soon as we were all inside, the process began. Through my helmet, I could hear the soft hiss of air being sucked out of the room. We stood there for several minutes waiting for the process to finish. At last it did, and we heard the door begin to open. Beyond it was another decompression chamber. We repeated the process 2 more times before we reached the final door and opened it. The dead, bleak landscape wasn't a surprise for me. I'd seen it before in another timeline. The others hadn't, however, and although I couldn't see their faces through the visors of their helmets, I heard more than a few gasps over the radio. For a few long moments we stood there astonished.
Where the hell are we?
The desert, I guess?
I figured that out. I mean, which one?
I don't know. I think I know what day it is.
Hmm?
Look at the moon. It's red, right?
Barbarian. Javeman, thank you for that follow. You're now Javeman the Barbarian. And Fiddle and Fidel, thank you so much. 20 months in a row. 20 months in a row, Fiddle and Fidel. Congratulations, you, and only you, are now the mightiest of barbarians. Thank you so much for the resub. There's a blood moon tonight. Be careful, Link.
That means today's the total lunar eclipse.
So?
Remember the astronomy magazine in the lounge?
Pretty sure you did the other day. I thought you did too, but oh well.
Well, the next eclipse like this was going to be on December 31st, 2028. So...
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Are you suggesting we were sleeping for a week after we were abducted?
I think so.
Wherever we went must have been far away from any city. The air was clearer than I'd ever seen it. The sky was full of more stars than I'd ever seen in my life. I couldn't even spot the lazy arm of the Milky Way. But the most striking feature was the moon. It was blood red and massive, much bigger in fact than I remembered it being. And as I watched, a black spot began to move across its surface. It was hard to see details, but it looked circular. The spot continued to move across the moon, heading for the right edge. The lunar eclipse?
The moon. Well, the moon's shadow, actually.
Why are we on the moon now? We're not on the moon, we're looking at the moon. The moon's shadow? Wait. I frowned. Wait, the moon's shadow? Wait, so we're on the moon?
Zero
Is that
told me to
Mars?
stay quiet. I think he was worried I'd spill the beans on his operation. He said if I didn't toe the line, he wouldn't just kill me. He'd kill Quark, too.
Wait. He'd mentioned something about a Mars expedition. He said he got here on purpose, so he knows where you are. Yo, Grayson, thank you so much for the host. We're not on Earth, apparently. And Grayson, coming in with that 20-month sub. Thank you so much, Grayson. You are now the mightiest barbarian. Quickly dethroning Fiddle and Fidel. Sorry, Fiddle, but the new barbarian king is here.
And I agreed, like an idiot, and brought Quark with me. Just so I could see her. Such an idiot. So, that being the case...
So does that mean Quark's not Zero?
Might as well start with this. I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
What the hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
Mars.
That's Earth?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Wait, that's
It's not
Earth?
the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. And again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon, covering the sun.
That's the Earth, and where the hell are we?
The moon, of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base.
What?
No way.
What the
No.
hell?
You've got to be lying. How do you expect us to believe that?
Now you know I no one ever comes back with help. Yeah.
This can't be the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
Fair question, Alice. 17 turnips. She picked up the rock and dropped it.
See? That looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way. You were right about the gravity in a way. I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but...
Excuse me?
Please just listen. Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Excelivir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well, Radical 6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed. Every one of us has been infected. In other words, all of our brains have been processing information at a much lower speed. If you evaluated the
That sounds like my day to day.
you'll get a number close to 0.408. That means our brains are running at something slightly less than half speed. As you said before, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the... Since the gravity is lower on the moon, I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example.
Oh my god, I don't need the new... I know how gravity works.
So, now we've established that on the moon, things fall, that being the case. To them,
Right, my brain is slow, so things look like they're moving at the correct speed.
Wait, you're saying that's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity?
are you sure you didn't notice anything?
So how did Dio just casually, just show up on the moon and just infiltrate our facility? He's just like, I'm gonna sneak in a facility, I'm going to the moon.
Think back.
This storyline's really starting to stretch itself a bit here.
Huh? You and Sigma and Phi said something about it in the lounge. About how you felt weird.
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of floating. Like that?
So the Mirados. He had the full backing of his religion. He had all the monies. I can't for sure. This blade finds apparently superhuman strength. Yeah, it does explain it.
Wait, this is crazy. That can't possibly be Earth out there. Look at it. I've seen photos of Earth, and it's blue and green and beautiful. That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something. This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028. Today is January 27th. No.
Don't tell me. 30?
Still no.
Then just what year is this?
It's 74.
Damn.
2074.
That's insane. That would mean we were abducted more than 45 years ago.
I don't blame you if you don't believe me.
Spaceflight is much cheaper, I guess.
But it's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. That's just science. Nobody can change that.
But why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world. On the 13th, all 18 of them went up. All at the same time.
Damn. Yeah, it does explain why Junpei's an old man.
The explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
Jeez.
I suppose it started a few months before that. The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing. The point is, Radical 6 claimed its first victims there, then escaped. Didn't take long for it to spread to the rest of the world. Like Luna explained, the virus slows your brain down, but eventually, it also makes you kill yourself.
Seems like a good name for a power plant of some kind, yeah. So are we supposed to send our consciousness back and just prevent 18 annihilation reactors from blowing up?
Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics. But for some it was poison or fire or asphyxiation. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to a halt pretty fast. That meant food couldn't get distributed, and thousands of people who weren't even infected died from starvation. Everywhere you went, there were just...
So what's the point of us getting
piles of
outside
corpses.
now? Like, okay, we're outside, we're on the surface of the moon, now what?
I don't know what hell's like, but I imagine it's a lot like that. After a while, people who managed to avoid getting infected started trying to get in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth.
Jesus.
That'd kill the virus off for good.
Well, yeah, sure, I guess you could just burn the entire planet to a crisp. Sure, yeah, that's a good plan.
On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 Annihilation reactors. Now the truth is, that's mostly just rumor. Nobody really knows what happened, but I've got my own theories. I think that the bombers had already been infected, and when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I'd bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan.
Yeah,
Even
thank you,
if it wasn't
Tenyoshi.
directly responsible. Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth. Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened. You ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got.
So, that means, so I guess we're in the facility now on the moon, and Kay and his dad and that other woman, I guess, who have been up here the entire time trying to research Excelivir, so they have an actual cure for it. So maybe I'm trying to take the knowledge of Excelivir with me?
The explosions threw a ton of crap up into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires. It blotted out the sun for 7 years. Plants withered and animals died by the millions.
Why root beer was so rare, why that one kid that mom was lucky. Yeah, and why they had theaters come in wagons. That does explain that.
The few humans
I
who
thought that
left
story was really
banded
weird.
together to survive. They were rough times. Eventually, they were over, though. The sky cleared and the sun came back. Plants started blooming again, and the animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. Things weren't quite back to normal, though. It's been 45 years now, but there's still quite a bit of dust and ash in the air. That's what you're seeing. You know why a sunset's red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Tenmyoji to lie to us. So we were stranded on the moon, looking at the Earth. Now what? It's 2074, but why? Why were we there? Why were we then? I was so lost I thought I barely noticed Phi's approach.
Hey, Sigma, I think I figured something out.
A window popped out of the inside of my helmet with a whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear.
I figured out why there's an extra E.
An extra E? Oh, you mean the graffiti?
Yeah, the one on floor B.
Popped in the DMs.
I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
So what's Anna say
God
this time?
damn it, Sigma! Knock it off!
Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get the man on the moon rules the infinite time. See?
How do you do that?
You need 6 E's to get that. So they stuck an extra one in.
Man on the moon rules the infinite time.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two.
So, what are you getting at?
My God, you're slow. You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
Wait a minute. Are you saying they're thinking about sending us back 45 years?
I'd bet on it.
So the ultimate purpose of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Temyoji was talking about.
I think so.
Doesn't make sense though. I mean, we came from that same time period before it actually. So why bring us here and then send us back?
Well, Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
You know where she is?
I've got an idea. Come on, think. Remember what she said when she gave you the key?
Tufui?
The grave. One in the garden.
Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Alright, everybody go back in. Everybody back inside. We had our fun little romp out in the wilderness, but everybody go back inside now.
What are you doing? Did you forget something?
We're going to have a talk with somebody. You really need me to spell it out? The person behind all this.
I'll
What?
take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I'll tell you when we get there. Now, if you please.
Good, I want to hear more about Kay.
I'm coming with you. You folks just said the magic word.
I'm going too then. So am I.
Yeah, might as well
Hey,
go.
is this Akane you're talking about?
Yeah,
Well, obviously you know Akane.
you know her real well.
Wait, you're serious? What the hell is going on?
Shut up! Just shut up! Come if you want to. We don't need to do roll call. Once we get there, Akane can explain everything. Head back through the airlock. Yep. Pointless padding, pointless padding. We know where we're going, just get on with it, get on with it. I don't need the dramatization.
Ah, clever. The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends. Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course. But the door on floor B...
Yeah. Thought we might be able to take the lift to it. And it looks like I was right.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah,
You
the
mean
grave.
the grave in the garden?
Yeah, don't worry. I don't think she's buried there or anything. Chances are she's alive, just in the grave. But anyway, let's go to the garden. Let's go to the garden. But Tim worked real hard on that door animation. He worked so hard. He did the animations between the rooms, and he did the door going up and down and down. It's very important. Fuck you, Tim. You're just an intern. You didn't get paid anyway.
Is Akane really under here?
I think so.
What should we do?
She's in like a frozen pod or something. The bee garden.
Are we gonna dig her out?
No, I don't think we'll have to do anything like that. There's gonna be like a cryo pod that just rises out of the ground or something. Insert this. I pulled the key off my ankle and fit it to the hole. Twisted on the right, I heard something unlock. It's quite a grinding, the grave began to shift. Hey.
What is this?
It doesn't look like a coffin.
Yeah, it's a treatment pod.
Oh my god.
It is, isn't it?
How could you tell, Phi? It was a treatment pod plastered across the side. Couldn't see who or what was in it.
Let's see what's inside.
Grab a hold of lever outside the pod.
No good. I think it's locked.
Treatment pod TP00. Stage 2 will be once stage 2.
What?
Alright, everybody take a nap for 10 minutes. This used to call a cast to freeze human bodies without destroying their
So,
cells.
Ms. Akane's like an ice cube? Then we
I think
gotta
so.
wait till she melts?
Was that really
So how about
necessary
you
for
tell
the
us your
time we were
story while
playing
we
the
wait,
AB
Kay?
game, though? Seems excessive.
Specifically, why do you know Akane?
I remembered
What do you remember?
everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This facility is a little like a rhizome. Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon.
Damn,
And this is the 9th one.
54. Ugh, shit.
Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create the AB project.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
Back 45
Yes.
years, right?
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly. It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
Let me begin at the beginning.
That's a good place to
You might be
begin.
thinking that Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this, but that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had. Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection with Radical 6 was also a vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored up, we just had to provide a life or death situation to launch your consciousness
life or
into the
death
fourth
situation,
dimension.
no problem.
Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Yeah, we've seen the slingshot analogy.
Wait,
Crap, you're late, no! Hey guys, yo, what up, Legacy? 6 months in a row! Congrats on your green axe. What's up, Legacy? You! And only you are now the mightiest of barbarians. Thank you so much, Legacy. Hope you're doing well.
hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us? Why did you bring us here?
That's simple.
Fodder.
In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories.
What?
Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you.
I suppose locked by far because in order to see you need him to jump a lot. Remember, Kiro's was entirely a puzzle that were reused. No one in that group had seen them in this
In a
timeline.
sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain. Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
After being kidnapped, your bodies were sent to a facility under Akane's direction. You were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep. 4 months later, you arrived at this facility. The date you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029. Your trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me
We were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But what do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking, as I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's
So we
consciousnesses to
needed.
the
She had
past.
mentioned before that other Espers kind of could feed off of the energy of other Espers. So she's here to kind of be like a battery to us.
Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power. You understand? And this is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bombs.
Huh? But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In another history, you were able to perform a prime decomposition on the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing. Because of your feat of mathematics, we were about to determine that Dio had planted the bombs.
Jinbei, Phi, and Akane are here, the Esper thing, yeah.
Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the
Yeah,
bomb
Sigma
in this
too.
timeline. Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced
So
to
why are
nothing more than so
Tenmyoji
much
and
space dust.
Quark here, I wonder?
This history exists. Now, let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark. Tenmyoji is simple. We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover. You are able to access the fourth
Oh
dimension.
yeah, right, Jinbei, yeah. We need him.
Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry, forgot.
Yeah.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a messenger.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you. I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth. What kid would turn that down?
We didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, and headed straight for the moon. During the trip, Zero told me to keep quiet once we got there. I don't remember anything after we landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
Now, Dio, his real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul, which is in turn controlled by a man known as Brother. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember what Phi mentioned earlier? The ultimate purpose of the AB project is to change history and keep Radical 6 from being released. If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project.
Right, okay, so far we're good.
Dio was given two tasks. The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed, at least not in that timeline. In other words, in that world, the project would have been stopped. If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan. If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
Can I ask you something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though.
Brother. Clover's brother?
May I proceed? Excellent. That explains everyone, save two. Luna. Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves, at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility, but I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
You've already met him, Sigma, in another timeline.
Well, I saw a hologram. Still know who he is. So that was Zero
Stage
Senior.
2
I wasn't sure if that was just like
complete.
unlocked, like an avatar, or what.
TP00 unlocking.
It looks like it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
But the way these timelines goes, it could be like, it could still be Quark, but in like 50 years or something, and he sent his, I don't know. All of us gather around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
Okay. Let's get started then.
But it's probably me.
Ready?
It's like the me from the past timeline that didn't get frozen or so, whatever.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Dum 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 dum. Hey, it's me. Suddenly my head was full of memories from the other timelines. I'd seen something like this before. Warehouse on floor B, in front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed the mask and saw my own face. Never forgot who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? Didn't make any sense. So I'd seen him, I was injected with tuberculine, and that was the end of that. But wait, this person in the pod was the same person I'd seen on the floor of the warehouse. Who was wearing Kay's armor?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you. Yes, I am.
I was right. It was her in Kay's armor.
It's you! June! I mean, Akane, from... But you're old.
Yes, that's correct. I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover. Or you, Junpei.
Junpei?
Akane, long time no see.
Barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. I felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do to not collapse right then and there.
When? How long?
Were they cloning me to try and have as many copies of me as possible to try and succeed? Is that why there's another me in there?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse? Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did, at least. I carried your bodies to the 3rd AB room, and then took Dio's to the 5th. After that, I went into the 1st room and borrowed Kay's armor.
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Now all I could hear is long time no see over and over again. Sonic Adventure games.
Yes.
Wait, it doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you, and then Luna took your body in the 6th room. You could have been a Kay's armor.
It was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio. You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat. Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
Huh. So in Kay's voting habits, he's not always the same person? It does, yeah. But, wait, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth.
Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
I've never seen him before.
Me either.
Total stranger.
What? Nobody recognizes him? Right here. Save face?
Huh?
Are you alright, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
What? Didn't make any sense. Why did they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What
Don't
does
you
that mean?
get it? You've jumped to the future. From 45 years ago.
Sigma hits all them. Pardon, I rather threw myself down on my knees. Crawling on all fours, I approached the edge. My heart had been hammering inside my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, damn it. I struggled to take deep breaths and slowly peered into the pond. It is me. No, this can't be real. This face.
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now. Zero, the mastermind of the AB project,
Yeah, he knew exactly who Zero was.
is you.
No, it's not possible. It's
No,
bullshit.
it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to
Yeah,
do
I knew I
anything.
was Zero after after a certain point. I forget exactly what point it was. But when Luna called me Doctor, that's when I knew. I knew I was Zero. I still wanted to hold out and hope it was Quark, but when she called me Doctor, I knew.
Please, Doctor. You will be a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering. No, I'm not.
I said I could never get out of the number 9 door if he gets 9 points. Strong robot arms, weak 7 to 8-year-old man body whose bones are weak.
You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him. His name is Kyle Klein, your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself. 23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future. When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only if nothing was done. The reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones.
To avoid giving this away too. I assumed he wasn't voice acting just because, he's us.
But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the nonary game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
Why? Why would Future Me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place. I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body. Anima is another word for the soul, or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch.
So we've already switched, so does that mean we've already accomplished our mission?
That was the chief goal of the project.
future person goes into past
Sigma,
person.
do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making. A is where everything began.
Want to know how that mission works out? Oh, really? Is that what the third one is?
December 25th.
Ugh, I'm good.
You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future. I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out. Moving on, if you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
Want you to know, a lot of your gripes are not there in the third game. Fully voice acted, no hallway animations, no jumping between spots on timeline. Instead, you pull a cutscenes without being initially told where they fit on the timeline. There's still puzzle rooms as well. Well, I would expect there to be puzzle rooms. It'd hardly be. It would be weird if they didn't have puzzle rooms in a game of this
36
series,
hours
because that's
to be
kind of one of the
exact.
main characteristics of this. What do you want, a series?
Have you already forgotten? You were all
If they got rid of the
infected
puzzle
with
rooms, then it would just be like
radicals.
a pure visual novel and probably boring as hell. You might as well read a book.
The virus slowed your brain down, so yes, 36 hours of real time have passed.
It's also much more violent. Now we're talking.
But to you, it
Like a
only
lot.
seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes. Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to the past.
Oh.
It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened. The
So what's the
story
point?
does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is, Sigma?
It's inside the AV room.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
45 years ago? To A?
Yes, his consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
Once the body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back to point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
As in, right now? So it's rotating.
Rotating? I suppose you could put it that way. But look at this illustration closely.
Enough of the
What if you
illustration.
take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path, with one exception.
This line here at point E, right?
Exactly.
It branches off completely.
Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes, by now you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years
So I was
ago.
right about the purpose of the AB game and the notary game and stuff. Well, at least I got that right. Jumping into my 22-year-old body immediately.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old
So then who's the gas
version of
mask
you to
person
reach
gassing
point B,
everybody?
we first have to go through point D. In
that a
order to
Kane,
get
I
to
guess?
point D, we must jump from point
Might as well,
C.
man. She's really good at it from those from 999.
And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point, so that we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
Hey.
What is that?
Tell me one thing. You said that point C is January 27, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to
Very
happen?
soon. Yes.
Soon? What's going to
We
trigger it?
need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension.
Is she gonna murder everybody? Even the previous game, Akane's power has been to see down all possible timelines to find the one where her goals can happen. This is true.
Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
You don't shoot bullets from slingshots. That's not how guns work.
Didn't I tell you? A
Yeah.
crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain. You
what do you
haven't
mean?
figured it out. I mean this.
Tio's knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Oh shit, fight! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving towards Fi's chest. I was almost there. I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. Is it gonna end right there? You gonna roll credits right now, game? I guess that's a fine place to end it. I guess there really wasn't more to say. GG? Question mark? Not over yet? Yeah, I didn't think so. One more spot on the timeline. Of course there is! Of course there is! 2 more, son of a bitch! You've earned Virtue's last reward. Fair enough, mate. Well, call it done. Slap, 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 slap. Wrap it up, package up, ship it, and do. There's another spot with the gold files. Fuck that. This for hard clears? Oh. Clicky! Click! We fast forward. Prepare fast forward. Fast forwarding. Alright, somebody wake me up when it's over. I feel like that robot right now. Almost there. It doesn't fit on my head. I'm gonna go take a construction worker's nap. It's non-canon, but real good. A new destination will be added to your flowchart. No shit. April 13th, 2029. You wish to jump? Sure. Oh man, I got a sweet CRT.
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't have any news to read. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now. But I'm out of tricks. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Oh shit. Whew. Rip. The moment I just stared at the TV, the roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room until with a click it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? Heard footsteps behind me and turned around. Hey, Akane, you. Wait, that robe. Oh, Akane. Oh,
It looks like the first step was successful.
The fuck,
Killed?
you killed me! I guess technically you're going to kill me 4 or 5 years now,
Hey.
but still.
No need to be rude about it. I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine. Yes,
I'm okay?
you and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis. That was the only way. Yes,
Phi?
I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump.
So where is she?
Now, you know what happens next, right?
We go to the moon?
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029. We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9, along with 3 treatment pods. Yes.
Alice and Clover? What about the third one? Who's
Phi.
in there?
We
Phi.
put her into cold sleep 2 days ago.
Virtue is its own reward, and gone is the last reward.
She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be
Combined,
frozen.
The only reward for virtue is death.
That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D. In other words, she was following the same path you are, and she still is.
And that means that after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body.
Yes, the point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years, sleeping in ice.
Then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
So that's why she didn't look old. So why don't you just stick me in with those pods?
We can't do that. You
Why
haven't
not?
figured it out? You have to spend the next 45
Right.
years working on the AB project. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines. Otherwise,
that all?
you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets. You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074, you will defrost Phi and carry her to the third AB room. Once you've done that, the 22-year-old version of you from point A will force you out, and you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
You better graduate with honors, damn it! What if I just party and drink beer? Did I change history? Do you think I can keep the virus from
You
getting
have
out?
to. If you don't, billions of people will die. Only you and Phi can
is that
save
all?
them.
What about you? Aren't you with
I
us for two?
can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
Time for the training montage. Do 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 do. Hearts on fire. Gonna go train in the winter of Russia. Convoluted as fuck. It does make sense. It makes sense to me because I've played both games now, but yeah, it stretches itself rather thin in places.
What do you mean?
What specific actions do I need to take? If I and I jump to point A, what are we going
You'll
to do
both
then?
enter the Mars mission test site.
After that?
I don't know. I'm
What?
sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there.
But it's dumb at the same time.
We don't know how the radical sick. We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Oh crap, they were
That's why
screwed.
we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult,
Oh, is that what the third one is? Finding out what happens in the test facility?
and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait, how do you know
The
it's so dangerous?
67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus. So I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
What did I
That the
say?
test facility is full of traps. There was one point. A woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake and lost your arms and your right eye.
Her arms and my right eye? We're the Terminator! What the hell? Suddenly a low rumble shook the building.
Go
What
have
was
a
that?
look.
Move slowly to the window to peer outside. On the horizon, I can see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly towards the sky. Rip. Would I really be able to change the course of history? No. That was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. I stared into the darkening skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed. I could trigger everybody so hard right now. Just hit the fast forward button. End. or beginning. So where's... So I guess this is after I got butted in the gut with the knife.
Where?
I see you finally
Oh,
woken
we
up,
can hear
Kyle.
ourselves talk now.
Kyle.
Ah, yes, of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
Was proposed to foreshadow something in Game 3, but didn't end up happening. Third game had development problems. Ran the other side of the petition. So it's non-canon, but fun. Okay. Mirror over 6 was covered with film with dirt, but wiped it off with my sleeve. My reflection staring back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged
Kyle
to...
Climb. So,
Oh.
I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
Excellent question, one I didn't know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Klim was. Another history had been called K, and had worn a suit of armor. Well, he hadn't just worn the armor in history, though. Apparently he'd worn it all his life. Kyle had been born and raised in the lunar installation, which seemed to call Rhizome 9. Rather late in life, Akane had appeared as a mother figure and had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him, even though I knew I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Klim? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. The spinning image of Sigma Klim in his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio still handcuffed. I turned back to Luna.
What day is today?
January 27th, 2074.
Today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden, and she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see.
The password for the Fuhrer Luna gave you. Mikavoli, read it backwards. I love Kim.
So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes,
Why am I here?
the doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the Doctor is Sigma Klein, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
What about the others?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
Oh, right! Mr. Klein!
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Klein now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, it's because of what he did or didn't do in the past that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. "Let's go northwest," he says. So they take the northwestern road. But about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay. 9 people then.
Back to the 9.
What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories, friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something? Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness, even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just not going to accept that, all right? You get it?
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
Is he right?
No, it's not going to happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just going to disappear or something.
Oh!
Yeah, he really is. In 999, he was meant to be us, but he was just such an everyman. He was such like a blank slate for the player. He had like such zero personality of his own, because it was meant for us to kind of be his personality in a sense. But giving him a personality this one, he's so much better.
Then that means we get to stay together?
I will say, generally, overall, kind of mostly across the board, I think the characterization of the people in this game is better than 999. I just think that overall the characters are better. Some characters I like better in 999 than in this one, but as a whole, I think it was done better in this one.
Thanks, kid.
I think the characters are more unique and interesting in this one.
Why you want to return to Earth is clear.
Honestly, with the exception of Quark. Quark's kind of bleh.
You have lives there. There are likely people.
I was really hoping that he would turn out to be Zero, and he'd be a much more interesting character that way. He'd be like he was like way older than he looked, and he's like some kid genius or something. But as he turned out, he was just kind of more like a sidekick to Tenmyoji and didn't really have much of a personality of his own. So Quark was a little disappointing because I built him up so high in my mind.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And even K, for like 95% of the game, was always just kind of robotic and plain. And I understand why, but that doesn't really change the fact that he acted how he acted.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see them again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
No point saying anything to Dio.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
He is Dr. Klein now that his consciousness has returned.
Feels rage of the Thailand murders deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
Dio's such an asshole, but
Akane?
that's a good. He's a good character though because he's such an asshole. You just hate his guts so bad. He's well characterized as the asshole.
Never mind.
If he wasn't, you'd just be kind of whatever. But the fact that you like generally like hate his guts is good because you're supposed to. That's the intent.
She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
In the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we're completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand, but
Kinda sucks, though. I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
but we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
You told us about Ten Myoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind
Time to
45 years
populate
ago.
the moon.
Even if it is for the greater good?
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different.
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
What?
That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have two Clovers and two Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How on earth does she plan to do that?
Schrodinger's
Cat.
Oh, hey, Kyle. Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a
This is
bedroom at the end of the
non-canon,
hallway.
yeah.
He's in there if you're curious.
Clover and Alice are not in Game 3? Okay.
Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Shh.
Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but unfortunately, my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Oh, right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman or a Merman or a Wolfman. I'm not a Brahmin or Kamen or Ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th. On that date...
Yeah, you said they basically had to beg the
Although by then
developers
you
to
were in
make
cold
Game
sleep.
3. Was it a Kickstarter project? Is that how it got funded, or is it just enough griping and complaining to the developers?
You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there. Then on January 20, even though still unconscious, that was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out.
It just got bare minimum funding? Okay.
And sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body.
You give it a couple months to give you some fun games in between, so don't go crazy.
Together, you attempted to infiltrate. Unfortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve.
I've really been trying to think of how I'm going to rate this
That
game
failure
and how I'm going
determined
to
the path
critique
you
it.
followed.
It's been really hard.
Instead of going
We'll get
along
into
the
that
line that
soon,
branches out,
but
point D
I just
being
want you
April
guys to know,
13th of the following year.
I've been trying to think of how to critique this game, and it's
That
been
was
very
the day that you
difficult
made
for
your way
me.
to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future.
High highs, low lows. Yeah.
It is, of course. This caused the two versions of you to swap places. And you
Oh, don't
moved
worry, I'll
45
be
years
honest.
into the future, where you woke up on the garden. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time
Every
you spent
game,
in cold
don't worry,
sleep,
I try not to hold back any punches. If someone picks a turd game, I'm going to call it a turd. It'll be a turd for me. What's a turd for me is not necessarily a turd for someone
for
else.
you, only 3.5 that.
But
being when
if
you
I
were
don't
sent
enjoy a
back to the
game, don't
past from
worry,
the garden.
you'll know. You'll know, I will tell you.
Have I missed anything?
No, everything you talked about you got right.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
And I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics.
Oh, God. Enough with the physics. I don't want to know any more quantum
Strictly
physics.
speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus... Of course, that makes sense.
I don't care anymore.
You see what I'm saying? In most situations, it works. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
Yeah, just stick to the formula. Yeah. It's an unpolished gem. There's a lot of potential. If you're willing to polish it, it can gleam, but there's a lot of systems that can just bog it down.
I don't quite understand. In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red.
Yeah.
The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
You're about to go back to the past, right?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden.
Yo,
You just woke up.
Lamagear. Twitch is bored, but I get to be a barbarian again. Thank you so much, Lamagear. 20 months in a row. Lamagear, you are now the mightiest barbarian. And welcome. We are hopefully going to be finishing
So
this
how
game
can you
very
know
soon.
all this? You know my past. Sigma's past.
I have to remind myself that this is not canon.
I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Climb. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness
Well, that's
is
what they were
not.
talking about before, how he's the spare if something goes wrong. So obviously something went wrong and they didn't succeed, so now It's Kyle's turn.
Think about it. Do you really believe you are Kyle? Or could you be someone else entirely?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here? I know what I told the others.
So he wanted to take Kyle with him into the past?
That Kyle was Dr. Climb's spare. But that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028.
Not a lot of time.
Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus. For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely
So none of this
necessary.
that happens in the third game?
And that is why he created him?
Or just the Clover Alice part?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
Correct.
Except that Kyle is not in the third game at all. Huh.
There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all.
What's going on? I'm not even sure myself, Overhunter.
You
We're
can
about to
travel
finish this
freely
game. We're looking at
through
extra
time and
content that's
space.
non-canon. Technically, we've already beaten the game. We're just looking at extra bits.
You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
I have no idea what...
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too.
It's something they kind of had to ignore to make the third game. Fair enough.
You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help. Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past. Only you can save the
It
world.
is, the player is the uncontrollable variable, but never end up getting this their game. Oh yes, raffle very soon.
Yes, you have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas?
Yes.
Well, yes, I do, but...
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped
You
by
must
what
believe that
we
the game will
believe
actually get made
reality
and the
should
developers
be.
won't shortchange it whatsoever.
If observation can change
What if,
the
you think they'll ever
motion
like
of a
remaster it and add some of this stuff in? Probably not.
then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality?
Celebration
Your will
Celestra?
can change history.
No, so sadly we won't have time for that.
The world will be reshaped.
We'll definitely be
into
doing
the
some
one
Celeste this
you
week,
imagine.
though. This actually should work out pretty good timing-wise. Assuming we're done soon.
Remember what I've told you. Only you, only
you could save the world. Alternative end. Done. Only you could prevent forest fires. That's it? Are we GG? There's no more? GG? Confirmation from somebody, GG. I think that's it. We've done it, right? Yeah, GG. Yay! GG. Finally. Oh, I can uninstall this thing. Alright, everybody. Sit back, hang tight. We're going to go ahead and set up for the review and raffle. I'm going to quick blast out to Discord. By the way, if you want to make sure that you never miss a raffle, make sure to join the Discord below. I'll always do an @ in the Gaben Gauntlet channel for those who want to. I'm going to post this in the Discord. Would you guys prefer? Are you guys okay with me doing an @ for anyone interested in joining the raffle, or would you prefer me to make a roll and assign it to anyone who would like that notification? I feel kind of guilty just like blasting everybody like raffle time. So. But if you guys are cool with it, then we'll just keep doing it that way. But in the future, we might look at adding a special role for people who want to be notified about the raffle. Anyway. At everyone. Alright. Anywho. Let's get some review music up in here. Oh yeah, hold on. I like @ otherwise I don't get notified. Alright, cool. Unless people start to complain about it, we'll just keep doing it as it is. Alright, let's get some tunes. Alright. Well, a bit overestimate, but I think I think we kind of knew that was going to happen, so. Alright. Well, now we're going to do the review and raffle portion of the stream, but first let's get through the easy stuff. Don't use that here. don't want to alert backlight. Alright. Little more. Alright, easy stuff first. Did we get through the game spoiler-free? No. We had a few minor spoilers from chat, very minor, but I also had to look up an answer for a puzzle. So yeah, no, in the strictest sense, we did not get through spoiler-free. Maybe in a few months, fair enough. What's today's date? Took us a little over a month to get through this. Today is February 4th, 2019. First beaten game of the new year. And it took us 34 hours, 43 minutes, and 3 seconds. Not bad. Definitely the longest game we've played in a while, actually. Last game we played that was longer was Stardew Valley. So, I guess we were due for a longer game. What's this remix of Forest Maze? I'll throw it up. I'll throw it in chat. It's a really good one. All right, so let's go ahead and flag this beaten. That means next up is going to be Spec Ops: The Line. And after that, one of you will get to pick the 57th game of the Gaben Gauntlet. But let's talk for probably a while about Virtue's Last Reward of the Nonary game series. I have a lot of pros and cons for this game. This is the second game of the series. Our first one was 999. We gave that one a 7 for various reasons. So, obviously we're going to be doing a lot of comparisons to 999 in our review of this, so let's go ahead and get on with it. We'll start with just some overarching ideas, things I liked. We'll start with the positives, things I liked better about this one compared to 999. I thought the characterizations, the characters themselves were much better. I thought ourselves, the protagonist, Sigma, was a much better protagonist than Junpei in 999. I felt like Sigma had much more of a personality than Junpei did in 999. I felt like just the characters were better. Most of the characters. 999 gets a 7. Bad luck, Brian. Yeah, well, you have to understand. So far we played 3 visual novel games. We played 999, we played Doki Doki Literature Club, and I played Virtue's Last Reward. And so far, more physics please. So far, none of these games have made me a fan of the genre. I'm not saying I hated these games, but none of these games would inspire me to seek out a similar game of my own accord. There's just not enough. It's just so much dialogue and story, it's a little overwhelming. For a lot of these games, it's all dialogue. At least with the 999 series, at least there's puzzle rooms to kind of break up the dialogue. Now, they're interesting experiences in of themselves, but they do not convince me to suddenly become a visual novel fan. I'll just say that. Okay, but anyway, getting back to talking about Virtue's Last Reward. Things also I liked better. The puzzles were a lot better in this one. In 999, I complained about most of the puzzles were kind of brain dead. It just felt like just a click-a-thon in 999. It's just like, just click on all the things till you find all the things. There was a few puzzles that were more clever in 999, but they really upped the difficulty of the puzzles in Virtue's Last Reward, which I appreciate. Some of them were a little too difficult in my opinion, or a little too vague in their instructions, or maybe a little too nitpicky into how they need to be completed for my taste. But as a whole, I think the puzzles rooms were much better in Virtue's Last Reward. They required a little more brain power, a little more focus, and they were just better puzzles in general. With a few exceptions of some ones I wasn't too big a fan of, like the fucking dice game. Anyway. So let's talk about some things that So next let's talk about things I thought 999 did better. I like my biggest complaint about Virtue's Last Reward is that it forces you to be a completionist. It forces you to go down every timeline, click every little spot on that flowchart. And I know you're going to say, but there's ones that lead you to death, and you don't technically need to go down those. Well, yes, you do, because you don't know where the information lies that you need to unlock something. So you're going to end up going down like I did, going down every single branch to try and make sure you don't miss anything, because you might need it for a lock or something. At least with 999, there's an ideal route, so you don't need to go through all the routes to get the story, the core story. Whereas you had to do that with Virtue's Last Reward, and that kind of pisses me off a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like my hand being forced like that in games. With a game with so much lore and dialogue as this, I like it to be optional to see the extra stuff. I don't like being forced to have to read every single line of dialogue in the game. There's so much dialogue, and probably about half of the dialogue is repetitious dialogue that you've seen in other timelines. Thank God they give you a skip mechanic, which isn't really the best, I must say. They give you the 2 good skip mechanics are ones that skip everything, which you have to manually control, and the one where it's supposed to stop on new text, but what it basically ends up doing is, if you hit a new area, it's not going to let you skip, even though you've clearly seen the 99% of the dialogue before. If there's one word that's different, it's not going to let you skip. You know, spoiler right at the start, but I believe you told me not to. No, that's true. Would have saved time, oh, for sure. But it would have marred it would have tainted my experience of it. I want to experience the game as it was meant to be played. And so that way it gives me a more accurate opinion of it. There was where you had to betray Fi after she betrays you, then you had to go back and ally her again after. Yeah. There's a lot of the locks in the game, Psycho mentioned it earlier, seem arbitrary and pointless. Like, the lock where you had to point out the bomber. We knew Dio did it. He had the bomb keys in the one timeline we went down. Why was that not good enough to identify him as the bomber? We had to go down the timeline where he admits he's the bomber, even though we had more than enough information to finger him as the bomber. And there was also a lot of other, like, much smaller kind of... Like, they really stretched some of the dialogue thin and some of the... And I don't need I feel like I just had an MIT course on quantum physics. Like, that might be fascinating and interesting for some, but at some point it gets dry and boring to read. It's like, your normal average person isn't going to sit there and go, man, thank God they're talking about more quantum physics. Oh man, this is my favorite part of the dialogue. It's like, no. No, so much of, a lot of the dialogue and cutscenes and traveling between places and doors opening, so much of it is filler that doesn't need to be there. They could have cut this game time in half if they had just designed it better. Like, the one notorious one I'll always remember was just like, I forget who it was, one of the characters said, I'm going to go to this room, and then it pans over, you watch the door open, you watch the door close, and then it pans back. Like, that was about 10 seconds of my life I want back. That did not need to be there. Just say, he went through the magenta door. Done. I don't need to sit there and watch the goddamn door open and close. Like, I understood when you said, he went through the magenta door. Like, unnecessary filler. And padding. Just like, thank God there's a fast forward mechanic, even if it's not a perfect one, at least it's there. Which we didn't realize we could just hit control and activate on a whim. That definitely helped things. But I did not enjoy having, there's too many options. I did not enjoy having to go back 9 different ways and have to skip the same dialogue 8 different times, and it just, there's so much unnecessary padding in this game. It's kind of annoying, but sorry, I got off on a bit of a rant there. So, but that's my biggest gripe between the two. 999 did that way better. There's an optimal route which we magically just happened to go across, which not everyone is going to, but somehow I did. I guess we just got the devil's luck. But that path is there. There's an optimal path in 999 where you can get the core story, you move on. If you want the extra little bits, you can go off and explore and get them of your own desire. But Virtue's Last Reward just forces it all down your throat, and I'm just not a fan of that. But the key question is, I guess, sorry, there's so much to talk about with these games. But after all is said and done, was the payoff worth it in VLR? I'm gonna say yes. I think it does a good job of... It sequel baits really hard in this one, which 999 didn't do. Which I could definitely understand why all the fans were really upset when they weren't going to make the third one. Because this one sequel baits so hard. I know it's the Survive one with the robot arms in the door. Yeah, that one was pretty bad. But yeah, this one's sequel baits really hard. But it does a decent job of kind of wrapping things up mostly at the end. I don't know if the ending was really satisfying because it sequel baits really hard. All it really ends up feeling like is a part 1 of 2 by the time you get through all that ending, which is a little disappointing. I wanted something a little more conclusive, but it ends up feeling like a part 1 of 2. I don't know. 3 timelines where you get your hint that your arms are weird before you get the confirmation Sigma's end. Yeah, it's always, I don't know. I don't feel satisfied with the ending myself. Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I was also really upset that I didn't accurately predict that Quark was 0. Damn it. I did so good in 999. I pegged fucked her name. Akane as 0. Sadly, I was not able to do that this time. Oh well. We did have some good predictions and we had some bad predictions. But that is part of the charm of these games, is I do like a good mystery, and this game tells a good story throughout the whole. I just think this one was dragged through the mud a little bit and maybe drawn on a bit too long than it needed to be. But the core story there is really good, and it does a really good job of making you second guess yourself. I thought everybody was a robot. Yeah, but I did figure out the point of the AB game and the fact that I was 0. I did figure out I was 0 when Luna called me Doctor. By that point, I was beginning to suspect, and then she called me 0. She called me Doctor. I was just like, oh, we're 0. So we were able to figure out some stuff. Mostly the stuff we weren't able to figure out was just like the really oddball stuff, just like, oh, well, your memory was wiped, and oh, of course I didn't know my consciousness flew between past and present, and went back 45 years. I was a little suspicious of the actual date and time in which we inhabited the world. It didn't seem to make sense that they had frozen pods if we were only frozen for a week. That didn't really seem to make sense, but turns out we weren't. What else is there to say about this game? There's so much. Yeah. The whole slowing of the mind thing and the moon's gravity, they definitely forced that one in there. That was a little too convenient. Oh, it just so happens your brain's working at 1/6 power, which is the exact ratio of the moon's gravity to Earth's gravity. That was a little contrived, but we'll let it go. Nothing that it's not worth getting aggravated over that. It was a little contrived. They had quite a few of those kind of things in there, but So I guess at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, how does it score compared to 999? Did I think it was better than 999? Did I think it was worse than 999? Or is it the same? Why do people speed up when they get infected? I don't know, it like melts their brains in half, and their brains are working at like 40% power. I know, they could have just said the base has artificial gravity. We have, like, antimatter engines, I mean. I don't know. Yeah, they could have just said artificial gravity and just, like, done. But if they had artificial gravity, then K wouldn't have needed his suit and other things, but whatever. But we need to come up with a final score. It's all because of quantum. It's all because of physics. We're just going to call this Physics 401 is my comment. Oh, did I like this game more or less than 999? There's pros and cons to both. I think the only thing I can give it, I'm really dancing around a 6 in my head. But that doesn't seem right. I think the only thing I could, oh god. It did a lot of things better. It did clean up a lot of stuff. I like that they actually animated the characters this time instead of just having static images for everything, so it made things feel a little more lively, a little more connected. Give it the exact same? That's kind of what I'm debating. I really can't decide, but yeah, we're going to give it a 7. Same score I gave 999. I feel like the pros and cons of each cancel each other out. The voice acting was very good, that's for sure. The voice acting was good in both. I felt like they both had quality voice acting. So yeah, we're going to settle on a 7. Both have their ups and downs, but I feel like they cancel each other out and we'd come out the same way we came in. Alright, so that's that. So now, let's get on with the raffle bit of it. You all know what to do. We're going to throw up the games list here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get this raffle fired up. What is this music? Oh. Oh, it's Realm's theme. Oh, it's just raffle. You just type raffle, but I haven't engaged it yet. Just raffle. It is indeed raffle time! And Curran, thank you so much for the 11 months in a row. You are now the mightiest barbarian. Everybody type raffle if you wish to be entered in the chance to pick the 57th game of the Gaben Gauntlet. Give everybody some time. Everybody please enter. Go ahead and throw this up here. Now the way it works is we'll throw the games list up in a couple times. But the way this works is if you win, you have to pick a game from the games list that is not highlighted. Any game that is not highlighted is available to be picked. So while you all decide whether or not you're going to enter, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to update a few things here, so bear with me. Also make sure to exclamation backlight to increase your chances to win. It doesn't matter if you've won before, it doesn't matter if you've never won, it doesn't matter if you're a mod, a follower, a sub, or just a lurker. Everybody has the same chance to win. Nice reason for Otoku not being on the nope list? Yup. Yeah, we have a very small nope list of games I've already banned that, despite them technically qualifying for the Gaben Gauntlet, I just refuse to play them. I do have some standards. I try to keep this list very, very small because I want to limit the possibilities of the Gaben Gauntlet. There's just a few games I just flat out refuse to play. Primarily, it's the FNAF series and a few others. But anyway. Alright, we're going to give it a raffle another like 30 seconds, then we're going to roll it. If you don't see your name up there, make sure to type raffle and enter to win. Also, let's get rid of Nightbot. If you see a little blue dot next to your name, you are eligible, you are entered to win. What about what's his name for Crayson's channel that always wins? Oh, Nakuri? Yeah, he's not here right now. I think he's sleeping. Woohoo, blue dot. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and roll it. I think that's long enough. Good luck all. I promise a fun action game. You can pick whatever you want. I hold no restrictions on genres or anything. If it's on the list, I need to play it eventually. And so if you want to see me play it, you pick it. Easy as that. I hold no restrictions on what you guys get to pick. If it's on the list, I gotta beat it. Alright, let's go. 3, 2, 1, Roll it. Overhunter. Congratulations, Overhunter. You have won the right to pick the 57th game of the Gaben Gauntlet. Please look over the games list and choose. Rigged! I don't think it's rigged. Overhunter, is this your first win? Is this your first win? I thought that you've won before. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, you picked Freedom Planet. That's right. Whirling! Thank you so much for that 18 months in a row, Whirling. Whirling, you are now the mightiest of barbarians. Thank you so much for this resub. Rigged! Wait, is that an actual game on my list? Oh, it is. Anachronix. Okay, then it shall be. Then it shall be. The 57th game of the Gaben Gauntlet shall be Anachronix. I actually have no idea what that is. Chosen by Overhunter. The game you donated to me. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a moment. And if you ever want to know more about a game, I do include links to the Steam store on each of them. It's not that long. It's only, what, 22 hours was the estimate? 28? That's not too bad. Let's go ahead and watch the trailer. Is there a trailer? Is there not a trailer? Apparently there's no trailer. Okay, well, never mind. Oh, this is a Square Enix game. Okay. Join Sylvester Sly Boots and his and Stiletto Anyway as they trek across 6 bizarre planets investigating a galaxy-crushing mystery, searching for artifacts from an extinct alien race and unlocking the secrets of a powerful advanced technology. It's your turn. Pick your poison. Oh man, this looks like a retro one. Look at that 4:3 ratio. Oh yeah, on sale right now, everybody, for 97 cents. Oh baby. When was this? Is this a port of a, or is this just a really old PC game? Huh. We gotta see if we can find, let's see, Anachronix. We gotta watch like a trailer of it or something. I don't want to watch a review. Anachronix movie, can we do like a trailer? There, oh man, 1999. Oh baby. Welcome to the worlds of Anachronix. Pre-Y2K. Oh my god. This is giving me like Abe's Odyssey vibes. Or like Beyond Good and Evil vibes to it. It's gotta be at least 144p. Oh man, we wish it was that good. Oh, look at them polygons, guys. Look at them polygons. Oh my god. This is one of the few actual RPGs that we've had picked for the Gauntlet. Frog. Oh, is this us? Well, that's the game we have to look forward to. Alright. Okay, then it shall be. Well, that's going to do it for me for the night, everybody. Is it like the Fifth Element, the game? Possibly. Hey, it does have a very big Fifth Element vibe to it. Looks like it's got a bunch of things going on there. Alright, so next time we do Gaben Gauntlet, it's going to be Spec Ops The Line. So, thank you all so much for coming in tonight. Thank you for hanging out for the finale of Virtue's Last Reward. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You all take care, have a good night, keep being the mightiest barbarians that you can be. And I'll see you all next time.